All right, you want to lose 30 pounds in 90 days? Yeah, I bet. Who doesn't? You want to do it, and you want it to be extremely easy. Of course. I can do this. I can make this happen. I can even show you, but the reality is, you know you, and I have a feeling I know you too. But anyway, welcome to Walk, Talk, Vent. Let's do this. We need to lose 30 pounds in the next 90 days, and we need to do it in a way that's doable and preferably easy. So here's our game plan. We walk every single day. We drink water every single day, and we avoid sugar like it's the plague. And if you want to lose 30 pounds in the next 90 days, I invite you to put your shoes on and start a walking routine with me now, and we'll do it together. Today we have some amazing stories, and this is where weight loss becomes actually fun and doable. When we go out to the gym and we work out, a lot of times we're literally trying to push ourselves to go every single time we go. With walking, it's enjoyable, and you'll learn to love it, especially if you have a good friend that you can talk to. And in this case, your good friend is me. I'm Jesse. Welcome to Walk, Talk, Vent. Today we're sharing a story from where I live here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm in North Phoenix, South Phoenix, where we have a lot of impoverished communities. We had a situation on October 14th where 32-year-old Rashad Johnson was shot and killed, shot multiple times actually, and killed by a homeless man named Rafaelio Jimenez. He was a violent convicted criminal, like they always are, because criminals never actually get reformed. They tend to repeat the crimes over and over. And in this case, it cost Rashad Johnson his life. A second tenant, a female, was shot in the face, but she was lucky enough to survive, if you consider people that have been shot in the face lucky, which I don't. Apparently, they are the tenants of Nico Bird. He owns a property in the area, and across the street from this property where Rashad and his girlfriend who got shot in the face live, they let this Jimenez character go in there to a vacant home and take a shower. And apparently, they eventually got a little brazen, they being the homeless people, because of course, what does Mr. Jimenez do after they let him use the shower? He goes and finds his friends, and they end up becoming squatters in the home. But apparently, when you let people in, you basically tie the hands of the police. So what happened is, just like all around the country, we get these annoying situations where once a squatter is inside the house, there's nothing really the police can do about it. And it's extremely frustrating because I don't know about you, but when you're trespassing on somebody else's property and you won't leave, how the hell do you have rights? That is the goofiest thing I've ever heard. I think that all states across the country need to agree on a federal level that squatting is so bad and illegal and so heinously wrong that those people need to have not 30 days to get out of the property, not forever to get out of the property. They should have 5 minutes to get out of the property as they're led into the back of a squad car and taken to jail. This is one of those things where I got to be honest with you. I don't know if it's a blue thing or a red thing, and I can't blame Houston, Philly, or Detroit when it's happening here in Phoenix, Arizona. So I want you guys to know, whether it's a red thing or a blue thing, it irritates the crap out of me. Homeless people are no longer what I used to see them as, people that are down on their luck. These are hardened criminals that keep being allowed to go back on the street where they do horrible things. Now, this story here is so interesting because, again, what it tells you is that if you give people an inch, they're going to take a mile. If a homeless guy wants to use your shower, the answer is no. And when you see a homeless guy in your neighborhood, you guys really need to do your best to get him the hell out of there, because the first thing he's going to do is he's going to find a homeless girlfriend and a homeless boyfriend. And before you know it, your neighborhood is taken over by the homeless. And they have no regard for laws. Because technically speaking, even if they get arrested for the day, all that happens is they get a meal at the jail and a shower. And now Mr. Rafaelio Jimenez is going to have plenty of free showers and a free bed to stay in. But my question to you, Venters, is why does it take this? Why did these people let these homeless people shower in their house? There's no such thing as being nice to these people, because you can't be nice to people that have nothing to lose. When they have nothing to lose, they're willing to do horrible and heinous things. There's a vacant home. Across the street from the vacant home, Nico Bird has residents, Rashad Johnson and his girlfriend. Pretty soon, the homeless people come, and Rashad and the girlfriend allow them to use the shower, and they start opening up the house across the street and staying there. So what does Rashad do? He goes and he locks up the premises. He changed the locks. They end up getting mad and rewarding Rashad Johnson by taking out his life. And poor Rashad was only 32, which when you start to hit ages like I am at 48 or 50 years old, you start to realize that at 32, you're practically still a kid. So again, it's almost like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you be nice to these people, they're going to take advantage. And if you be mean and stern with these people, they're going to potentially take away your life. This is where we need to be backed up by people like the mayor, by people like the governor. This is where you need people to be firm with criminals and say, we're not going to allow squatters anymore. Whenever I hear stories of squatters in a home, and meanwhile the owner has to go live down by the lake in his van, I just tell myself, man, that is yet again where people in the government are letting down the people that are citizens that are voting them into power. And again, in this case, I don't know if it's a red or a blue thing, because 10 or 15 years ago, we were a red state, and over the last half dozen years or so, we're turning into a blue state. But again, I don't know who the judge is. I don't know how to think on this, but I do know one thing, and I think we can all agree on it. Squatters deserve prison time immediately. Jesse, seems like you always want people to go to jail. You want to know something? We need more people in jail. We need to throw away the keys on these people. Every single day, it's never a virgin criminal. It's always somebody with convictions. They're always let out to do crimes again, and they always do. It gets really, really old. Now, just like Dracula, don't let people into your home. There's a chance they won't leave. And if you think this story sounds really odd and bizarre, it did, but here's a problem with news stories. They give you a minute and a half worth of story, but the reality is some stories take a half hour or more to really give you the context of what's going on. What it boils down to is you have a vacant house where homeless people are shacked up. The cops won't let them leave because technically you let them in. They come across the street to your house to use the shower, and you trying to be nice, you say, sure, if your stupid butt is letting homeless people into your home to use the shower, well then no wonder they ended up taking your life. Quit trying to be Captain Save-A-Person and freaking do the right thing, which is to get these people out of your neighborhood. And in case you're wondering, South Phoenix is just like North Las Vegas. It's just like these bad areas around the country. It's predominantly people that are super duper impoverished. So they get to the point where they start to look at certain people that are also, hard up, and they start to see it as like a community. And the reality is these people don't give two shits about you. Right when you change the locks on the property and you tell them that they're no longer allowed to come to your house for a shower, pretty soon you start to realize that it's dangerous to your health to tell criminals no. And again, when you let them in your house, it creates a situation where the cops don't necessarily do anything about it. So now let's have some fun. Let's read the little comments that people left, because I think you'll find them interesting. I did. At UTI student 099 says, we let them use the showers? No, 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 no. He might have even put an extra no in there. The moral of the story is this. I think you're exactly right, UTI student. Who in their right mind would allow any homeless person into their house to use the shower? It's kind of like allowing Dracula in. Once you let him in, you're doomed. So Rashad Johnson and your girlfriend who got shot in the face, I hate to say it, but there's going to be people that hear this story and think you got exactly what you asked for. You're letting shady criminals that you know nothing about come into your home? Are you stupid? You know, and Rashad Johnson, bless your soul, I know that you're in heaven now. But the reality is, I bet if you had that all to do over again, you would have never let that happen. And for you to change the locks on the property across the street, and again, I don't know exactly who changed the locks on the property across the street, but for that to upset people that don't live there because they're starting to look at it as their own house, there's just something really evil and wrong about that. Please let me know down in the comments if you agree, because I have a feeling right now across the country, there's probably tens of thousands of homes that are being illegally squatted in as we speak. And if you do have an interesting squatter story, please share, please share. At Kenmore01 says, maybe squatters shouldn't be allowed so many rights. Hey, I have a better idea, Kenmore. How about squatters aren't allowed any rights? How about if you're in a home that you don't belong in, how about you do not pass go, you do not collect $200, how about you go straight to jail? And how about these judges start keeping these hardened criminals in for the max? And I have a great idea. A lot of these jails allow people for every 2 days they're in jail, if nothing happens and they're good, they get credit for 4 days, right? You hear these stories where you get credit for good time and you get out early. How about we don't allow that anymore? How about people serve their full sentence? How about we quit giving third and fourth and fifth chances to these people? Because I don't know if you guys have saw, but it's like having a football team that's 0 for 17. It's just a losing proclamation. And for people to constantly be okay with this, it's awful. I think we really need to just make being homeless illegal. Is it an asshole move? Yeah, I guess you could call it that. But you know what a bigger asshole move is? When people that are cool with this start to be cool with the idea that people like Rashad Johnson are losing their life. I say get these people in jail. If they need a place to stay and a meal to eat and a shower, they can find that in jail. I forgot to write this person's name down, but I'll put it here on the screen. Another comment came in and said, never ever invite them in. You have immediately created a civil case and police will throw their hands up in the air and they'll walk away without action. So what does that mean? That means that no good deed goes unpunished. When you start to allow people in, you tie the hands of the police department. Apparently, at least here in Phoenix, you do. So when people ask you, do you have money? Just know that if you say yes and you're in the vicinity of your home, you're going to start getting a knock on your door every day asking for food and money. And if you let people in to take a shower, you've just created your home as the mobile shower of the homeless neighborhood and community. Quit being stupid. Stupid people get stupid rewards. And this was a stupid move that you guys did. And Nico Bird, you're a landowner out there, right? You're sitting there as a investor, right? Trying to make money off your rental properties. You need to have a law or a rule established with your tenants that they're not going to allow homeless people into your properties. Look what happens. At Selena Knight says, terrible. Who lets homeless people use their shower or bathtub? Not a good idea. You know, this goes back to street smarts. The people in South Phoenix, if you were to ask them, they would probably say they're 3 times more street smart than people up here in North Phoenix. People up here in North Phoenix have a real bad habit of, looking the other way when we see homeless people in our neighborhood. But I don't know anybody out here that lets homeless people live inside their homes. So again, this comes down to, are you really street smart when these things happen in your communities all the time? Street smart would be, get the heck out of our neighborhood or we're gonna thug you out of the neighborhood. That's what needs to happen to these people. And cops and governors and mayors, come up with a better plan than nothing. When people do nothing, it's criminal, because that means that bad people get more brazen. Are homeless people bad? Of course not, but a good percentage of them are. And that's the thing you need to remember. It's a percentage thing. If 75% of the homeless have drug addiction problems, do you see people on drugs as normal and sane and everyday people? I sure the heck don't, and if you do, something's wrong with your brain. These people need to be thrown in jail and forced to go on their medication and forced to get off drugs. And repeat offenders need to get to the point where we as a community quit giving them a 5th and 6th chance. So here's my question that I would love for you to answer. If any criminal hurt any of your family members and they had 3 or 4 offenses on a rap sheet a mile long, who are you going to be mad at? The criminal that can't obviously change their ways? Or the parole board and the judges that let them out to do harm to people like you and your family? I think it's awful. I think we need to really consider setting up artificial intelligence, having artificial intelligence make the decision. Would I ever do this in a real world scenario? No, but the reality is we have a really weird real world scenario where people literally make horrible decisions and we call these people judges. Holy shit. Jesus Christ, that asshole wasn't even looking. He had his window down. He probably heard me say asshole, but what kind of asshole doesn't watch where he's driving? Holy shit. By the way, he was looking down at his cell phone, so it's not like he was purposely trying to bully me off the street, but that's exactly why you need to keep your head up and not looking at your cell phone. You could run over a little kid that's not paying attention, and he was in one of those cars that's like electric or a hybrid, so that car was practically silent. So what's that tell you, Venters? When you're walking, keep your head up on a swivel. I saw him coming, but I assumed he saw me and was gonna slow down, and he never did. Didn't stop and say, sorry, bro, or nothing. Just keeps going on his merry way. What that tells me is that even if he would have hit me, he probably wouldn't have stopped. He would have just went on his merry way. By the way, if you do a hit and run accident, you should go to jail for a long time, because what it shows is that more than likely you've already got a rap sheet and you have no interest in going to jail. And when judges start to realize that, maybe they'll do the right thing. Here's a question I have for you. Do you think when judges get injured by criminals, you think they go easy on them? Hell no. You hurt a judge, you go to jail for a long ass time. And that's where you have to start to realize, do judges consider their lives more important than ours? I would say yes. That's pretty obvious. And obviously, that's wrong. These things upset me in life. And by the way, I'm not going to hold him trying to run me down on the street against him, because again, I think he was just distracted. But again, when you're looking at your cell phone while you're driving through a neighborhood with people, you're doing something wrong. Put your damn cell phone down. I'm glad that you guys got to see that. That's how easy it is to become a victim as a walker. People don't watch for you. Final one. So, squatters are not tenants, they are trespassers. Why can't they be arrested the first time police are called? This is ridiculous. And I think we need to remember that. Squatters are not tenants. You know, they're sitting there living there for free. They're in a house that doesn't belong to them. A lot of times you find out they're the absolute dirtiest people. They don't care about keeping things nice. Why the hell did somebody somewhere create this precedent where we say squatters have rights? I think whenever any politician goes up, we should force them to make a promise that they're going to get rid of these squatting laws. Don't give them a day to get out. Don't give them a month. You give them 1 hour to vacate the premises, and because these people don't like being told what to do, you need to take them to jail for a long time. Otherwise, they're going to actually punish the people in the neighborhood that are trying to do the right thing and get them out of there. I'm not a fan of the way this world is. This is the USA. How is it any different from a third world country if we're going to let the bad guys just take over and rule? Think about that. That's why you don't want to go to these third world countries. You don't want to be ruled by the drug overlords in these places. So why do we want to let them rule here in our neighborhoods? It's wrong and horrible, and I'm tired of the rich and the politicians and the judges hiding behind these gated communities. How about we get rid of gated communities? How about we allow people that are poor to go sleep on the street of these rich communities? How about we let people know where the judges live so these people can go stay in their guest homes? You know, you hear certain things and you say, Jesse, that's ridiculous. And I agree with you. I want judges to be safe. But my God, how awful is it that you're okay with throwing these heinous people right back into the community? It's awful. I'm telling you guys, the criminal's best friend are these freaking parole boards and these judges and these lawmakers. And you want to know something else? All these people that are bragging about van life and, oh my God, who needs a home? I live in my van. Guys, those are not people to emulate. Those are not smart, great ways to save money. Those are people choosing to be a part of a community that's not the best community. Are people that live in their van bad? No, they could actually be very good people. And if you have a gym membership, you have a place where you can shower every day. But here's the problem. You're starting to get used to living in a situation that's not really good for human beings. You are not supposed to live in your vehicle. Your vehicle should be a place that you live when you're out camping or you're out roughing it for a night. It should not be a long-term or even a short-term situation. Have a good relationship with your parents and grandparents so that if anything ever happens and you're down on your luck, you can go stay with them. See, this is where, again, a lot of people are totally happy to tell you, hey, you've got toxic parents. Get them out of your life. Hey, you have a boss that disagrees with you. Quit your job. If people are telling you to cut ties with your friends and family and to quit jobs without a backup plan, are they really your friends? Are they really giving you good advice? No, the best advice is get debt-free so that if anything bad ever happens to you, you have some money saved up. Have options. Keep in contact with your old employers. Don't burn bridges. Have good attendance. Show people that you actually are worthwhile to have as an employee. Because that's what happens. We think, oh, I'm too proud to work at a place where I'm not happy. Well, you're punishing yourself when you become homeless. And when you're a good person and you let homeless people shower in your house or you feed them and give them money, you're really inviting more homeless people. And you're making our neighborhoods suck. Guys, there's a house down that way. I've walked by it before. There's people that are living in the front yard of a house. It has to be because the people that live there won't let them live inside. And they do these drugs outside, and I'm sure the cops know about it. They're not going to do anything about it. You're letting them live in your front yard. I don't know about you, But I'd be willing to bet that if I called city council and found a way to communicate with the authorities and I asked them, hey, is it okay if I just start camping out in some stranger's front yard? They would probably say, no, that's illegal. Well, what if the stranger lets me? Well, then you got squatter rights probably. These things are depressing. And that's why I walk. Guys, we gotta walk. If everybody walked, we could come up with really good ideas in this country. But the idea that a lot of people have when they get into government and law enforcement is just to look the other way. You know, we put things on a priority list and we say, hey, we're gonna go after people that are shooting people in public. Okay, that's great. But we're gonna ignore homeless people that are literally breaking into homes and living there without permission, without paying rent. I don't know about you, but if someone's gonna get arrested for stealing your car, shouldn't they get an even worse punishment for stealing your home? I mean, when they steal your home, they're not only giving you no place to live yourself, they're taking away rental money that you could be earning. So, I mean, literally, it's theft. And it's the most horrible thing of all. You're causing a person that owns the house to potentially have to live out of their van. And in case you're wondering, that's why I bring that up. I've actually heard that story before. There's a famous YouTube video going around where a person wasn't allowed in his home because there were squatters, and he had to go live down by the river in his van because the government won't help him and give him any relief. I also saw a story of a female military officer that came home from her overseas duties to only find out that her house was taken over by squatters. And then you call the cops and they give you the old, there's nothing we can do, ma'am, this is their property right now. That is ridiculous. It's truly ridiculous. And if one of these homeowners decides to take out the homeless person that's stealing their home, guess what? The homeowner goes to jail. Why are we always so fast to punish the person that's defending themselves, yet we're so fast on the other hand, we are so fast to forgive the actual criminals that are causing the mischief? I'm telling you, I think this country is getting worse. This country right now is like Back to the Future Part 2. You remember Marty comes back to Hill Valley and he starts to realize that it's not even a good neighborhood anymore? That's what happens. Right now, this neighborhood that I'm in right now has about 30 or 40 homeless people that consider it part of their transient route. They migrate across this route every single day, and they're starting to live and sleep in these alleys. This alley right here, I've caught many people on the opposite side of it sleeping right next to people's dumpsters and gates. What would you do if your 5 or 6-year-old child went outside to see a homeless guy out there with drug needles? It's awful. And if they're smoking anything and the kids get the secondhand smoke, I don't know, does fentanyl cause death even if you inhale the tiniest of fumes? Probably. And if any single one of us lost a family member because of these people, guess what? All of a sudden, we would want this to change. So what I'm asking people to do is empathize with the victims. We need to put ourselves in their place and let the criminals go to jail where they belong. I feel like I'm always sending people to jail, but you want to know why? Because there's not enough people in jail. We look at this and we say, hey, America incarcerates everybody. That's not a problem with America. That's a problem with the everybody. We have a lot of people that sit there and do the wrong things in life, and when you let them out and you give them a free pass, you're rewarding bad behavior. Let me know your comments. I'll see you tomorrow.